Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV.
So all Trump wants for Christmas essentially is the wall. He ran on a platform from day one of saying that immigration is his #1 priority. He said that the day he announced his presidency, and followed up shortly thereafter with, they're not sending their best, they're sending rapists to America. And so he wants at least $5 billion for his border wall. Now, that's something that he said. It's been 2 years to get $5 billion out of the $20 billion that he wants for the ultimate construction of this. It's been 2 years and he hasn't gotten it. And what has happened essentially within the Congress is the Congress has gone along and just said, you know what? We're going to say he's fighting for this wall, but there's not enough votes to get the money for it. They got close. We've already shut the government down over it. And it seemed like, and then there was a vote in the House or in the Senate, and the Senate took a voice vote where they said all in favor of this other agreement that we have, where we essentially are just saying you get all the money to fund the government minus the border wall. There was a vote on the House where they said all in favor say aye, and they said aye, it was unanimous. But then things kind of changed. It seemed like there weren't going to be enough votes, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders started hinting that they would find other ways to fund this wall. She said, in the meantime, we're looking at every avenue available to us possible. The president has asked every one of his cabinet secretaries to look for funding that can be used to protect our borders. At the end of the day, we don't want to shut down the government. We want to shut down the border from illegal immigration. So then Donald Trump was starting to listen to people like Laura Ingraham, and Laura Ingraham came out and essentially told everyone, you know what? Trump's being a little lily-livered, pushover, and he isn't fighting for his wall. And then suddenly Trump came back and said, you know what? We're gonna fight really hard for this wall to the death. And now there's gonna be a shutdown because he said he won't accept what's happening.
And also this wall that he knows he cannot get. It is not going to happen. He knows that. And it's for looks now. There's so much about this. Obviously the most important thing about this is that this is not about illegal immigration. This is not about border security. This is about throwing gasoline on a racism fire. And that's really what this is about. And kind of keeping that base of people that really like that fire, excited. But there's so many lies about this every day. It always should just come back in people's minds that he said Mexico was paying for this. And so now we are going to shut the federal government down because we're not agreeing to pay for something that he said Mexico is gonna pay for. And the people who are in support of this don't care that, do you know what I mean? Don't care that that was a lie, and that was an obvious lie, and it's.
Yes, here's what Ann Coulter, I said it, Laura Ingraham, she's later in the show, but here's what Ann Coulter said to rally the base. She said, either Trump never invented or intended to build a wall and was scamming voters from the beginning, or he hasn't the first idea in how to get it done and no interest in finding out. My prediction is his support will evaporate and Trump will very likely not finish his term and definitely not be elected to a second term. So 2 things happened.
Okay.
First, it seems that Trump got the message and he started sending out information and trying to rally folks around this new initiative that he had to stop the government unless he got his border funding. Here is a video that he played, or that he made.
I'm fighting very hard for border security, so important. I've already started building the wall. We built large sections and we're fixing up a lot of other sections that are a mess. But the fact is, we need the wall. The Democrats know it, everybody knows it. It's only a game when they say you don't need the wall. You can look at their eyes and you can say, well, they're not telling the truth. They want to try and do anything possible to hurt us because of the fact it's politics. I understand that.
It's an edited video. You can take another stab at
it. Right. We don't need the wall. That's the fact. We don't.
Yeah. And here's the other thing that happened.
Everybody needs diversity training. Okay.
Donald Trump also, according to Trump Alert, after Ann Coulter made that statement online, real Donald Trump appears to no longer follow Ann Coulter. This bot cannot tell if it was an unfollow, suspension, or block, but no longer does real Donald Trump follow Ann Coulter, so he's very upset.
So much of this is just based on appearances, and that's so harmful and useless. It's worthless. It's pitiful. So much of all of this is just based on appearances, how one looks, and it's this, it's corny.
Right, so here, this is essentially, it was a decision between two things, right? One, to just go with what had been happening before, because this is the last chance that he has with a Republican-dominated Congress in both houses. And after this, Nancy Pelosi takes over in the House, and there's really no chance of him ever getting this funding for this border wall. So he had the decision essentially between letting the continuing resolution go on so people could go home for Christmas, or digging his feet in the dirt and going ahead and saying, we're gonna shut down the government. He said it to Nancy Pelosi, he doubled down. This morning he was even tweeting like, the Democrats own this shutdown. He was also saying that Mitch McConnell needed to use the nuclear option in order to get this passed.
He also, remember they had this disastrous conversation on national television, which blew all of our minds.
Yeah.
Where he basically said he was putting it on them and on a Congress that wouldn't start until January. He was putting it on them because he couldn't pass it right now. And she was saying, do it. No, he was saying he could pass it right now. And she's like, well, do it.
Yeah.
Do it. You can't. And he's like, yes, I can. Well, okay, we'll do it.
So the Senate was like, listen, the Senate's the hard one. We're gonna do a budget that doesn't fund the wall. But it does give $1.3 billion for security measures when it comes to border security. And then Chuck Schumer actually went on the floor of the Senate today and said, listen, they haven't spent last year's border security allocation. So why is he asking for more money now if he hasn't spent what we've given him in the past? That is proof that this is all a ruse and all he's trying to do is get this stuff. And
that's the most important point of all of this, just what he said, just that.
I mean, I personally think that Trump could have just said, and he was trying to, he was like, listen, when I say it's not a concrete wall, I want a beautiful artistically designed wall that's a bunch of steel pillars in it. Just declare victory and move on. That's what he should do. I don't know what's stopping him.
That's what it's about. Just say you did it. Don't harm all these people and shut the government down.
Yep.
For attention.
So now,
a fence is not a wall, but sure.
It's fine.
If it stops all of this, sure.
He said this. This is what this is another tweet that I really love. He said the Democrats are trying to belittle the concept of a wall, calling it old-fashioned. The fact is there is nothing else that will work, and that has been true for thousands of years. It's like the wheel, there is nothing better. Then he says, I know tech better than anyone, and technology on a border is only effective in conjunction with the wall. So then he goes on and says it's 99% successful in Israel. It will not be any different from on our southern border, hundreds of billions saved.
That's just not something that I want to compare. It's not what
it's a shorter border. I mean, the vast majority of people who come to the country not through the border and they overstay their visas. It's just, to him, it is just emblematic of something that he wants to have because he said he wanted to have it.
But even saying that, he said that for a reason. Just that statement. And it wasn't even about the wall.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from The Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.